Hello, and welcome to Here by Nature. Today I'm going to be very quickly going over the key verse of the book of Mark, which is Mark 10:45, which reads, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." The first key takeaway for the book of Mark is that Jesus redefines greatness through humble service. In a world that equates greatness with status, influence, and recognition, Jesus flips the entire value system. True greatness is measured by a heart willing to serve others, not by how many serve you. The journal prompts for the first key takeaway are: where in my life am I more focused on being noticed than on serving quietly and faithfully? What would it look like for me to reflect Jesus' servant-hearted leadership in my home, workplace, or community this week? Why do I sometimes resist serving others? And what does that reveal about my heart? The second key takeaway is Jesus' mission was centered on sacrifice, not self-advancement. Jesus didn't come to build a platform, secure earthly power, or receive human praise. His mission was rooted in self-sacrifice that accumulated on the cross. His life teaches us that following him involves surrender, not self-promotion. The journal prompts for the second key takeaway are: what sacrifice is God inviting me to make right now to follow Jesus more fully? How do my daily decisions reflect a life centered on Christ's mission rather than my own comfort or ambition? Where do I still cling to self-control or self-advancement instead of embracing Jesus' call to surrender? The third key takeaway for the book of Mark's key verse, and the gospel in general, is that Jesus gave his life as a ransom to set us free. The word ransom speaks of a price paid to liberate somebody from bondage. Jesus' death wasn't symbolic, it was substitutionary. He paid what we could never pay, freeing us from sin, shame, and separation from God. The journal prompts for the third key takeaway are: what does it mean to me personally that Jesus paid a ransom for my life? Where do I still live as though I am bound by things Jesus has already set me free from? How can I walk more fully in the freedom Christ purchased for me? And for the personal reflection part today, I'm going to try to be very quick. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like kind of starting to sprinkle. It's very cold outside, and I'm just ready to be out at the cafe editing this and about to start a small group that's actually going to be going over this. But yeah, give me just a sec. So I'm going over the second key takeaway, second question, which is: how do my daily decisions reflect a life centered on Christ's mission rather than my own comfort or ambition? So it's December, which means it's the Advent season, and I personally have purchased a Advent daily devotional. So every single day this month, culminating up to Christmas, I'm going to be reading first thing in the morning. This morning I did not, because I was enjoying a day off. Normally I work on Thursdays, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so that's a daily decision that I'm making specifically for the end of the year, to kind of set myself up for success for the start of the new year. Oof. Because if any of you have watched any of the previous personal reflections, I've spoken a lot on how starting the day out reading scripture really does help to like boost my mood, get me in the right mindset, and just a bunch of different stuff. It's just like all around good for me. And I highly recommend it for you as well. If you're not like reading the Bible, like just start with like the Psalms, start with Proverbs, start with like maybe even like a small book of the Bible. My personal favorite is Esther, and I've actually recently read Ruth as well. And they're like super crazy awesome. They're really cool. But so taking a step back, that daily devotional, that Advent devotional that I mentioned, it was really crazy because there was something that I was kind of struggling with for a little bit. And yeah, just the very next day, it was December 2nd. The very next day in the devotional, I actually feel like I got like a targeted message. Sorry, a targeted message. Yeah, basically, I forget exactly what it was, but something about like the Christmas season is meant to be focused on a heart posture of gratitude and not of like, what can I get out of all of these situations? And I like to give. I like to give a lot of gifts, and sometimes it puts us in a little bit of a financial bind. You know, I was kind of getting in my head about like I gave so much to my husband that I'm not necessarily going to be able to get that much back. And I was all in my head about it. Yeah, it was just really silly, some of the thoughts that I was having. And I feel like that message in the Advent devotional, happening on that day in particular, was very much so like a little slap on the wrist, like, hey, remember why you're doing it, kind of thing. And then the next day after that, it was kind of like a even further refinement of the heart posture, uh, where it's a situation of like, remember the entire reason for the season. I know that's like an overused quip, but truly, like, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for the fact that Jesus was born. So, yeah, little bow to put on it. I know I kind of rambled with that. It's really cold outside. I had the bright idea of taking a shower and then coming outside to do this, so my hair's all wet, my fingers are freezing. I'm gonna go inside. I hope that maybe you heard something that you needed to hear today. And until next week, friends, I'll see you then. Have a blessed one. Bye.